Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host Tony Cañas, and I am out in the wild today, so you can see that I'm a little right. I don't have my usual super fancy equipment, and the reason for that is that today I am in Chicago. There you go. That's the reality behind me. Is the new Delta Lounge at O'Hare, which by the way is super nice. I could live in this lounge. It's so nice. And today I have with me Todd Thams. Todd Thams, the founder of Mod Advisor and Direct Work Comp, and up until recently, longtime broker, but he just sold his brokerage. So Todd, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Tony, it's going great. I feel like I'm pretty good set up here. I've got the camera, I got the monitor, and you're in the wild, man. I love it. People walking behind you.
Normally, I have a beautiful setup, right? But you know, I'm on the road. The fall conference season is kind of in the thick of it. I've been traveling almost every week for the last couple of months. Only a couple of weeks left. Basically, this week. Tomorrow, I am at Dig-In Women in Insurance in Chicago, and then on Wednesday morning, I fly out to San Francisco for CPCU Into Risk, or what used to be the CPCU annual meeting. And then next week, I have one more in New York City, which will be NAIA, a NAIA event in New York City, and then I am done with my fall conference schedule, and I get I'm going on an Antarctica cruise for 2 weeks, so I will be like outside of Wi-Fi from like November 18th.
You're going south. 2nd. Well, first of all, that's amazing. We recently just joined the conference circuit, and it's exhausting. I mean,
so
just
it's
hard to get anything done.
I'm an extreme extrovert, and I love the conferences.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a lot. Now, luckily, so my day job, I run a little recruiting practice, but do nothing but insurance and insurtech. And luckily, my co-founder Kylie is my exact opposite. She doesn't like to be out and about, even when I get her a free conference ticket. So basically, I'm out and about checking my moneymaker, and Kylie is in her home office in Chicago, keeping the trains running on time, making sure that both clients and candidates get taken care of. So we work really well together. So Todd is in Iowa. I like to say that I'm Iowan at heart. My girlfriend, who's from Ohio, laughs at that because of my accent and my generally not being the whitest guy in humanity, like a lot of Iowa. But I did spend 10 years in Iowa. For cyclone twice over, and then lived in Des Moines. So you are in Iowa, but kind of like not Des Moines, right? Not Des Moines, not Ames.
No, you and I would be on the right side of the state because the western half is cyclone territory. The eastern half is Iowa country, and we're cyclone fans over here. But I was born in rural Iowa, lived in rural western Iowa. If you drew a triangle between Omaha, Des Moines, and Sioux City, we're smack dab in the middle of God's country. We raise cattle, we raise corn, we raise soybeans. We farm. I don't farm. I don't know how to farm, but I mean, there's a lot of people out here that.
Well, do. Yeah. No kidding. So you're what, like 45 minutes from Omaha and like an hour from Des Moines?
No, I'm an hour 15. So we fly out of Omaha quite a bit. Hour 15 to the airport, and then maybe an hour 45 to the northwest corner of Des Moines, and I forget what they call that, Cooper's Corner or something like that. There's some weird name for it, but okay. Yeah, it's almost 2 hours to get to the city.
Okay, so yeah, you're really in the middle, in the middle of Iowa, in the middle of western Iowa. Okay,
we are.
When I was in Omaha, and then I drove to Ames, so I drove like right by your house, basically.
Yeah. So you took I-80, right, or did you come up Highway 30?
No, I took 80 and then 35. So okay, I didn't get that close. But I was surprised how nice the weather was. For like late October, I was expecting like snow basically, and it was like
we don't see
beautiful.
Snow till maybe December, maybe January.
Okay,
there might be our season is weird. There might be one random snowstorm that kind of freezes everything, and then it dissipates real quickly, and then we get, kind of a warmer weather, what they call the Indian summer. If you're lucky, you get that through November before things start getting cold, the ground freezes, and everybody stops working outside, and then it's real crappy till.
So like June.
Fair enough.
No, it's not Minneapolis. It's not Minnesota. So April, May, depending on the year. We always give the guest the chance to give the elevator pitch. So what is Mod Advisor?
Yeah. So, well, once again, Tony, thanks for having us on. I'm thrilled to always talk about Mod Advisor, and you do a great job with your podcast. And I see recently a couple hundred episodes. I mean, you were just grinding, man. A couple episodes a week from what I see dropping. But Mod Advisor, we're a workers' compensation solution that shows the impact that worker comp claims have on an experience mod. So for every state in the country, aside from the four monopolistic ones, if you have a claim, whatever that dollar amount on the claim is, we tie that back into the impact that it has on an experience mod. And then our users, which are typically agents or insurance companies, will use our software to educate via like risk management, identify trends, slip and falls, shoulder injuries. We group those claims together and really are able to educate in terms of those costs. And then our users will put in a risk management place and say, well, if you do this and it solves this, here's your ROI. Here's the pay for. Okay. It's fun stuff. It's work comp, but it's fun stuff.
So I've never been an agent. I've been an underwriter, not a work comp underwriter. I was a middle market underwriter, a little bit of work comp, but not a ton. My UA, Becky, definitely understood the mod better than I did. But if I'm not mistaken, there has been some sort of mod software for a long time, right? There's like one that's been around forever.
Yeah, there's a big boy on the block with the little boy.
So given the existence of the big one, what made you decide, you know what, we can do this better?
Fundamentally everything. Let's just say it's kind of like, either you're an Android lover or you're an Apple lover. For me, I'm all Apple. The system is pretty cohesive.
All Apple.
But the same thing when it comes to mod analysis. I think sometimes we as brokers, we want to overcomplicate things and make things extremely complex, and therefore our graphs and our reports are extremely complex. And in today, people want easy, they want fast, and they want to get the gist of it. And really, that was kind of the rise of us. We're going to make work comp analysis so simple and so easy that I think there'll be another player that is big in the marketplace pretty soon, and it's going to be us.
Okay,
I'm confident of that.
Okay, so it sounds like the big gorilla in your space has kind of similar problems to Vertafore and to Epic that they've just been around forever. It's hard to, right? It's the innovator's dilemma. If you've been around forever and you've got a cash cow, it's hard to disrupt your own cash cow by doing things
100%.
really, really differently, right? So if there's a better way to do it with today's technology, but you have to redesign your cash cow and potentially make it less profitable while also spending money to get it there. Why would you, right? Until somebody forces you to do that.
So, you mentioned, Tony, I've been a broker for 20 years. I think sometimes we're held hostage by private equity, and things don't change because private equity expects a certain return. And why fix something if it's not broken? And, maybe I'm just a fish that likes to swim upstream, but it's about time that we do something that moves the needle for brokers and insurance companies to make our day more efficient and provide more value. And that's where technology comes in. And so we're going to tackle some of the hard things that maybe haven't been tackled in the past because there hasn't been a competitor. But as well as I do, if you're sitting outside and you're trying to enjoy a nice drink and the fire's going and there's a mosquito flying around buzzing, it's going to get your attention and piss you off. And we're going to be that mosquito in the room. And ultimately, we're going to get some attention. And I mean, that's maybe a bad analogy, but if we go in with the focus of making our users' lives easier and helping them find more time back in the day, I think that's a value proposition that wins all the time.
Okay. And direct work comp. So separate startup. You
Yeah.
you're still running it. So what is direct work comp, and how does it interact with Mod Advisor?
So direct work comp has nothing to do with Mod Advisor. Direct work comp was my first step into kind of like, well, not even really the insurtech space, but as a broker, I'm frustrated with how long it takes to get a quote or sell something, and I think sometimes first to market wins. And my frustration is even it was even bigger with, you'd send something off to market, you may hear back, you may not hear back, you don't even know who the underwriter is, they don't have their out of office on, like, it's just a whole nightmare. And meanwhile, you're trying to juggle all these quotes coming in the door. And so I said, you know what, I just want to do a workers' compensation focused agency. We're going to do it as best as we possibly can. So direct work comp is nationwide. We have a couple of APIs with carriers. They quote, bind, issue, make a decision instantly. If the user likes it, they can bind. We've got some wholesale contracts in there, so we're able to help our users, like, if they don't write in 4 states, or they just have a client that expanded into that state, they can put it on our platform. We pay a commission on it, and then we just help them write it that way.
Okay.
So we're also direct, but we're also MGA.
Okay, so the name says it very well. Basically, it's a work comp only solution, meant to be quick, easy, and painless.
It's absolutely great. I woke up this morning, somebody came through and got a quote last night. I mean, it runs itself.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so if I'm an agent and I'm listening to you, and maybe I've never tried the other big one in the mod analysis space, or I haven't and I didn't love it. Why should I give you a try? Like are you, well, much more modern technology? What does it look like for a new broker or agent that wants to try it out?
So we do free demos. I mean, if you go to modadvisor.com, our pricing for agencies is transparent. We're on our website. We don't change pricing depending upon what we think you can pay. It's pretty upfront pricing. You get what you get. Currently, I'm running all the day-to-day. So I help brokers across this country do mod analysis on their clients. We have a resource builder in there. So if you're a broker and you need a resource to go out, maybe help sell a specific account, our marketing team will design that and push that out for you. I would say, maybe when you're small and nimble, you can be a little quicker than maybe some of the big shops, but we're certainly very broker focused, and we want to help that community grow and flourish. And that's where our commitment's at. The cool thing is, as I initially started focusing on some of the brokers, we've had some insurance companies who run risk management departments inside workers' comp divisions that do the same thing, and they're super interested also. We've had a lot of great conversations there. And so we partnered with a couple of insurance companies right now. We're also using our tech. All of that with the goal of educating the end buyer and making that process super simple for them.
Okay, so this wasn't the plan. It just kind of, you discovered that there was a market for the on the carrier side. So on
Yes.
the carrier side, if I had to guess, well, the surveys say that half the listeners are carrier side. But I came from the carrier side, and my 2 co-founders and insurance nerds both came from the carrier side. So I always think that we're carrier heavy. So for my carrier listeners, which carriers makes a lot of sense to partner with you guys? Which type of carrier? Is it just the work comp, whatever, like the memics and the employers of the world that only do work comp, or does it make sense also for multi-line carriers?
It could be multi-line carriers, but I suspect multi-line carriers are probably doing some things in the background that they may not need us. Where our focus has tended to be are for those carriers that have specific work comp divisions or work comp carriers only, and you need to have some sizable premium in there. So we're not talking the quick bind issue policies that are $2,500 that don't even have an experience mod. That's not really our market. You need to be that middle market player and above to really make any type of use or get value out of our software.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So the carriers, how do they onboard this kind of technology?
Well, so our software at Mod Advisor is entirely white labeled. I believe we're the only one that I know of that's that way. Nowhere will you find our logo anywhere or our software. So we brand everything to our users or to the carriers. So if you're ABC or Acme Insurance Company, it's going to say Acme Insurance Company on it. It's going to look like your product, even though we're powering it in the back end.
Okay, and is there, does it connect to the carrier systems via API, or does it not even need to connect? It's just they get access to your system and that's all they need.
Typically right now we intake, so a lot of data comes from various bureau reports, such as, in California, it's a WCRB, in 38, 39 states, it's NCCI. We intake a lot of that data automatically, drag and drop. We export it in. We also have an Excel intake function. So if you've got, or if you have loss information in an Excel format that lines up with ours, you can import that in and instantly produce some reports. Long-term carrier connectivity, APIs, all that stuff would be in the works. And that would make this product, so much more user-friendly than what it exists today.
Okay. So it's been 2.5 years. So you were telling me before we started recording, you come from an agency, from a family agency background.
Yeah.
So 2.5 years ago, you decided to launch this crazy thing. And ultimately it leads to selling off the family agency recently.
Yes.
So tell me about that process. So was this a side project, or was this like the goal was to move away from the agency to an insurtech, or like, I'm just curious what you can share about that story.
Well, so that's a long, convoluted story. I tend to jump before looking sometimes. So I really have to watch myself. But, I joined our family business, which, was founded in 1934. I joined it back in 2004 and started this project, not realizing the level of commitment and time commitment and resources that it would take to obviously get it off the ground. And we started that the summer of 2020, I think. And, as time goes along, it takes more and more time. I'm less present in my day-to-day insurance office. I'm less available for the clients that I have here. We're out in Vegas at ITC. The emails are stacking up. I mean, it just gets crazy. And we just said, where do I want my life to go in the future? What do I want for my family? What do I want for my kids? And we just kind of made some big decisions that this is really what I get excited about when I wake up in the morning. And they say, if you're passionate about what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I can tell you, I have worked more hours in the last 2 years than I ever have in my entire life. And I'm not tired. I'm thrilled. I'm excited about it. And so it just kind of became, well, when do we look at exiting the insurance agency? When's the right time? Started that process in 2022. And it was pretty fortunate because we even got selected into the BrokerTech Venture class of 2022 accelerator. And that has exponentially launched our growth. So the fact that we were kind of running the exit strategy and the buildup at the same time has been exhausting, but it was the right time for all of those pieces to come together.
There's a lot of really great lessons there, especially so if we look at like InsurTech 1.0, roughly when this podcast started, before we had the word InsurTech, there was a bunch of tech kids with the tech hammer looking for an insurance nail. And I heard the phrase, we're going to put State Farm out of business in 5 years way too many times. And now, fast forward to today, we have a lot more actually insurance people going, you know what, there's an actual problem that I've identified because I've been in this industry for 15, 20 years. And I think with modern technology, there's a way to do this, right? So we have a lot more, and I think they'll be more successful because they're identified real problems and real ways to fix those problems. But they're not tech people, right? So you have to learn a whole new game. You have to learn how to raise funds. You have to learn, right? At that time, there were no GIA or broker tech or accelerators that really understood insurance. Basically, you were going for standard accelerators that Y Combinator kind of thing that did not understand insurance.
Yep.
So I think the world's very different now, but and it's much better. But at the same time, I think that there's a great lesson there for agents that are looking at doing something like this, that it can't be a part-time gig forever, right? Eventually, you're going to have to choose.
Eventually, you've got to take the plunge. And interesting, we just had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. Every venture capital fund or private equity, they're all looking for this unicorn status, or what's the massive payout at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from some of the insurtechs that I've seen lately, it's a much smaller play. I don't think in the future we're going to see the Apple out there that we're going to see apps in the App Store that plug into Apple, and I think the real successful insurtechs that you're going to see rise over the next 10 or 15 years are going to be those that do one or two things and they do it extremely well, and that bolt into other systems. They are just a link in the chain that gets from A to B, and that makes that whole entire process seamless. And that's ultimately where we want to be. We want to be one link, one laser. We want to do one thing. And I can't imagine doing 15 other things, because just mod analysis alone and everything that we're going to do inside of that is a full-time gig. But I guarantee you, in 2 years from now, there's going to be nobody doing it as well as we do.
And the beauty of insurance is that there is so much money. There is so much premium out there that you don't have to be the next State Farm, right? You don't even have to be the next, I don't know, PIR. Find one little piece that you know really well, that can be improved 20%, and you've got a solid business there. You just need to laser focus on that. Be careful with raising venture money, because the moment you raise venture money, you've guaranteed that you're going to have to sell, in order to find an exit for your investors, right? And that might not be what you want to do. I'm a big fan of building a lifestyle business that I enjoy running.
I don't disagree with that. Well, then that goes back to, so as you know, we did funding initially on, and again, you have to be careful in who you partner with, and not everybody's a good fit. And so I think just those honest conversations, and we've had honest conversations with a lot of people. I tell them what it is that I'm looking for. Either they're going to be on the bus or they're not. I mean, we want the right people on the right seats on the right bus to help drive this thing forward, and not be at odds. Because the last thing you need is a bad investor that wants to move out quicker than maybe I want to do, or wants to go in a different direction. And so we've sold everybody on the vision. This is what we're doing. We're laser focused. We're not doing anything else. We're going to be the number one software. That's what I believe. And here's how we're going to get there and what we're going to do. And we've had some people that buy into that also. So been very fortunate.
How was the experience with broker tech?
Broker tech, it's
we can cut this part out.
No, broker tech. There's so many good things I want to say. It's great that two brokers, I believe it was Holmes Murphy and M3, took that on and founded it. And when we were there in April, you get 25 participants. So I want to say there's 12 insurance agencies and 13 carriers. And for 2 days, you meet with a group of 3 or 4 of them back to back to back to back to back. And you just talk about your issue and what it is that you're trying to solve. And then out of that, You get interested partnerships on, hey, who wants to work, who wants to provide feedback, what are people willing to do? And so it takes a little while to kind of shake out of that, like who's really interested in what. Um, on top of everything else that's going on top of the other insurance conferences. But I tell you what, from an accelerator standpoint, um, there, there's no better group of people that are more connected, that if they want to put their arms around something and make it grow, it's going to grow. And so I think they do a really good job with the selection process and whittling down what should be in the cohort, what's maybe going to move the needle for not only the insurance agent side of the community, but also for the insurance company side of the community. And the fact that all of these people can sit around the tables and maybe sit around the same table and put some of their competitive differences aside and say, hey, we're going to focus on this one thing, which is making the insurance community a better place and how we represent our product and how we sell to clients. I think it's a win. So I've been extremely honored to be part of BrokerTech Ventures. I hope they have me back again next year for, you know, the ongoing meetings and those type of things, but very, very fortunate, very blessed.
Fantastic. Everything I've heard has been great. I've had several alumni come through the podcast, and everything I've heard has been great. Are you are you going to do a second accelerator, or haven't decided, or no comment, or definitely not?
You know, it was interesting.
One was enough.
It's interesting. I didn't even want to do the BrokerTech Adventures, the BTV accelerator.
Okay.
And I had it confused with another one. And I said, hey guys, I'm already in the marketplace. I'm busy. I'm swamped. I really don't need, you know, to do all this stuff. And I had a couple people call me like, you really need to apply for this. And I think some of the preconceived notions I had about what it is, they're like, no, that's really not how it is. Here's what we're willing to do. Here's how we're willing to help. So that was absolutely fantastic. I have no other accelerators on the pipeline right now. I think what I would like to do is go to a couple specific InsurTech events. I think InsurTech New York might be a good one to go to, and just, you know, kind of like, you know, bumping into you. There are connections you make at every one of these things, and people you can talk to, and there's some really good value right there.
I would agree, and I would say InsurTech Connect is you know, the big one, but I've had good experiences at InsurTech Hartford. I've had good experiences at InsurTech Insights. I've heard good things about InsurTech New York. I didn't get to go this year, but maybe next. I had solid experience at InsurTech Austin. So there's a lot of other regional events that are maybe closer to home than InsurTech Connect, and maybe cheaper. So yeah, there's a lot of good events out there, and you know, a plane ticket and a day of your time, or a couple of days of your time, one or two of the right connections can totally make it worth it. So I mean, it's a lot of work, but definitely worth it. So
and I don't know if you're like, so I was just watching Austin's a town that I want to spend a little bit more time in, because I think that place is just exploding. And I absolutely love barbecue. And I'm in this random Facebook group with a bunch of other barbecue nerds. And we're always posting pictures of barbecue. And somebody says, you need to watch the show Somebody Feeds Phil. You ever heard of it?
No.
It's on Netflix. And this guy Phil just travels all over the world and eats food. I mean, it's kind of stupid that that's what we watch on Netflix, but that's what we watch. Anyway, in Austin, this guy goes to some place and they have a bacon rib. It's actually bacon, like it's a like on the bone rib. I've never seen or heard anything like it, but like, I like ribs. I like bacon. The bacon rib, like pork belly on a rib that they smoke, has to be just absolutely amazing.
Pork belly is delicious. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Austin is a really cool town. There's a ton of InsurTechs down there, and it seems to be growing. They're hard to recruit for, so I do have one piece of advice. Anybody looking at starting an InsurTech in Austin, be remote friendly, because it is hard to find to find good insurance talent. Tech talent, yes, but insurance talent in Austin is hard. So
Wow.
so just so you and everybody and all the listeners know. So Todd, thank you so much for your time today. I love the passion that you have for this little piece of the insurance pie, and getting your system as good as can be in and it's little, but it's important. Like the mod can make a
It's little,
huge
but it's
difference.
important.
It's little, but it's important. The mod makes a huge difference in larger work comp accounts, and it is in everybody's advantage to understand it as best we can, and control it as best we. It's the best way to serve the clients that we serve.
Absolutely. And you'd be amazed. I mean, sometimes there's bad data, there's errors. We uncover stuff all the time, and if there's not something out there fact checking, then your clients are overpaying. And how else do you know?
Absolutely. So thank you so much for your time. When this goes live, I will tag you on LinkedIn, and I will tag Mod Advisor on LinkedIn, and I keep building this thing. Look forward to have you back in a year or two with to share your progress.
Tony, thanks again. Have a safe flight.
Thank you.